Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jason Jensen, and you're watching Jason Jensen Trains. In this episode, I'm going to show you how I make my pilings that go on my piers. And I'm also going to show you how I put barnacles on them. Hope you enjoy the video. So the first thing we're going to do is take a wooden dowel, and this is 1/8 of an inch thick. You can use bamboo skewers because they're very inexpensive. You can get a pack of 100 for, I don't know, not very much. The problem with these is that because they're used for food, they're coated. So it makes it difficult to stain. You have to paint them rather than stain them. And then when you cut them, you can see I cut the end on this one, and they really splinter. And then when you pull it, you get strings. But I have used these in the past. They do work. You just have to be careful with them. And like I said, paint them the wood color that you want. Where with the wood, you can stain it. I think these look better and a little more realistic. So the first thing we'll do with the wood is we'll take our saw and texture it. Don't have to do much. That's it. And then let's see. We'll do one at 1.5 inches. And we'll do one a little shorter. Now you may want to stain them first. It's actually probably a good idea. I'm going to go ahead and stain these after I have them cut. Okay, so we'll mix up a little stain. We'll use black and burnt umber. And then I've got some water here. So I'm just dipping my brush in the lids. And then we'll just test it to see what it looks like. It always looks really dark at first, and then it sort of soaks in the wood and lightens up a little bit. And again, I'm just using acrylic paints. You could do India ink and alcohol. I am just currently out of India ink. Here is the alcohol that I use. I think with the acrylic paints, it allows you to also get the color a little more exact. So our little pilings are starting to dry. They're still a little damp, and that's okay. So I'm just getting a little bit more black. So what we're going to do is we're going to darken the bottom of them. So as you can see, I just put black on the bottom, and then you can actually hold it upside down, let it run a little bit. So you just want it to look like it's sort of faded into a dark color. Okay, I've got a couple more here that I'm going to work on at the same time. So the next thing we're going to do is take a flat file and we're going to round the edges of the tops. You want it to sort of look like the top of a mushroom. And if you want some to be at an angle, you can file it at an angle. Very easy to do. I suppose if you don't have one of these metal files, possibly one of these. Let's see if this works. I don't know if it's going to be strong enough. It doesn't work as well, but it works. Now you don't have to. The tops look nice, but if you want them to be lighter, you can add desert sand to them. Okay, now next we will do some dry brushing on the sides with pale gray. And again, this is another step that is optional. So just dry brushing it brings out that wood grain. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but I'll definitely hold it up. Just gives it a little bit of a weathered look. Gives it an aged look from the salt water. You don't have to do a lot, just a little bit here and there. Next, we're going to glue 3 of them together so that we can wrap some rope around them. So I'm just using regular white Elmer's glue. Make sure your bottom is level. Just cleaning up any extra glue. I went ahead and glued some other ones together. Next, we're going to add some rope around it. The rope is not thread. I'll try to show you the difference. It's almost twice as thick. I've had this for years. I don't know where I got it. It could actually be, I don't know if it's kite string, but like I said, it's almost twice as thick as regular thread. And I got this, I believe I got it at Michael's. Don't know. So, but that's what we're going to use. We're going to put a little drop of super glue on the back side. And we'll hold it there for a second to let it sit up. And then we'll wrap it around probably 4 times. Then we'll take our little scissors. Cut it. Put a little drop of glue on it. And there's where we're at so far. So again, we'll just put a little bit of glue on it. Hold it there for a second so that it sets up. Next, we're going to add the barnacles. So you want to use well, first, we're using ballast, and we're using fine ballast. I believe that N-scale modelers use the fine for the ballast on normal track for N-scale. But all you have to do is worry about it saying fine. And as you can see, we're using tan, but they make this in a gray. You could definitely use gray. It'd be fine. Because after this is on and it dries, we're going to do some dry brushing over it. So I already have some on here. Then we're going to use Eileen's tacky glue. So we are using a number 0 brush. Pretty fine. And it's wet. I found it works a little bit easier if it's actually wet. So we're just going to paint where we want the barnacles to go. And we don't want to do a straight line across and do it all solid at the bottom. We want to do lines. And definitely get some photo reference. Get on the computer and look at some photos and see how it actually looks and grows on there. Or attaches. And you definitely want to go thicker at the bottom. Okay, then once you're happy with it, just sprinkle on your ballast. We'll let that dry, and then we're actually going to come back in and do some dry brushing over it. So I'll do 2 more so that you can see it again. So I dip my brush in the water. And then you definitely want to go heavier at the bottom. Okay, we'll quick do this one. This is a pretty quick little project. A fun project to do in the evening. Really doesn't take too long. And then definitely make sure that you wash your brush out really good so that glue doesn't dry in it. Okay, that's the last one. So I'll let them dry just for a little bit, just for a few minutes actually. Now we're going to do some dry brushing just to bring out some highlights on it. And I'm using light buttermilk. And again, you don't have to do this step either. Maybe you're happy with just the way they look, how they are. I like to wipe the paint off on my hand so that I can tell exactly how much paint is on my brush. I can start to see where it's actually starting. You can get the pattern of the skin, and that's what you want. You would definitely want to go lighter towards the top of the barnacles, the part that's out of the water. I'm doing the whole thing. But if you want to get, if you want to make it look realistic, like I said, just get some photos, and you can definitely do it the way that you want to do it. To me, this is a very fun, relaxing project. Which is good because I have a lot to do for my layout. I think by adding some paint to the barnacles, it gives it some depth. Especially when it's on the layout and you're standing up looking down at them. I think without painting some highlights on them, they're not going to be too noticeable. So sometimes I make things a little more extreme just so that they stand out a little bit more on the layout. Next, we're going to add some green to them. And I'm using light avocado. So we're going to get our tray back out. And we're just going to mix up a wash. And we're just going to go around the top of, I guess in the middle of the entire piling, but more at the top of the barnacles. And after you get it painted, you can just add some water and let it run down over the barnacles if you want to. I'll show you up close what this looks like. Hopefully you can see the green good. And you can go as heavy or as light as you want to. I think on this one we'll go a little heavier. just for some variety. Okay, that is it. I actually have some more, and I will show you up close the other ones that I did. But it's really that simple. So I've done some other ones, and I'll show you up close. Hey! I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It's such an easy project. I hope you all have fun trying it. Well, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy modeling, everyone!